If you've ever looked into the viewfinder on a better quality camera or maybe video camcorder, there's a good chance that you've noticed a few small demarcations in that window that you can use to properly frame your shot. Many times, those visual markers come in the form of a tiny circle or X in the middle of the view, which can be used to center the picture's area of interest, and a set of brackets that border the outside of the viewing window so you know exactly what will and won't make it into the picture once you click. 3ds Max has a similar type setup that it calls SafeFrame. To show you how it works, I'll be using a file named SafeFrame, which can be found in the Working Files folder. If you've had much experience in taking pictures, whether they be still images or video footage, you're well aware of just how frustrating it can be putting the wraps on a film session, only to find out that when things are viewed or played back, that parts of the scene have somehow been mistakenly left out. When working in Max, activating your camera's SafeFrame feature will avoid that from happening. Let's take our camera full screen and render it out. We can render by hitting the teapot icon on the far right side of the toolbar. It looks pretty much like what we see in the viewport. Fact is, though, that it's not quite exact, as what we're about ready to see is both the top and bottom of the picture don't quite match up due to the fact that the size of our viewport is actually a little different than the resolution that we used when rendering. Let's close our render, then activate the SafeFrame feature so we can see that a little more clearly. In the upper left-hand corner of the viewport, click directly on the name Camera 01. When the menu opens, we'll drop about 3/4 of the way down, choosing Show SafeFrames. We could also opt to use the Shift-F shortcut. Now I should note that the SafeFrame feature will work in any view. We just happen to be using the camera viewport for our example here. Now, what exactly do we see? The yellow border around the viewport shows the actual area of our scene that'll officially be included in our render. Anything out of that area will be cut off from making it into the picture. The size of that yellow window is determined by the actual output size, in other words, the width and height dimensions that we have set up in our render controls. So if you change the resolution of your render, your SafeFrame window size will change also. Let's take a quick look at that. Up on the right-hand side of the toolbar, let's open up the render setup controls. We could also use the shortcut F10. About halfway down in the settings, we'll go to the output size category, changing HDTV video to custom. In the preset resolutions that we see on the right-hand side, we'll click on 640 by 480, then drop down to the bottom right-hand corner of the dialog, clicking on Render. Here, we're now rendering with 648 pixels from left to right, and 480 pixels from the top to the bottom. With that new resolution, you can see the difference it's made within our render. And if we close the render and look in our viewport, you'll see how things have changed there also. So the SafeFrame is giving us a clear indication of just exactly what we'll get with our finished render. Let's reopen the render setup and we'll change things back to using high def. Back under output size, about halfway down, we'll change from custom to HD. And so things can better fit the screen, we'll take our width to 900 and press enter. Let's go ahead and render again. Okay, this now gives us the standard 16:9 aspect ratio that high definition is known for, meaning 16 pixels or dots of color running horizontally for every 9 pixels running vertically. Now, there are a few other visual markers that you can have displayed on the screen when SafeFrame has been activated. Those controls can be found under the plus sign in the upper left-hand corner of the view. After clicking on the SafeFrames tab, let's go ahead and activate both the Action Safe and Title Safe by clicking on their checkboxes. Now, once we've done that, we'll drop to the lower right-hand corner and click Apply, then OK, or simply OK. Let's talk about what all 3 rectangles represent. The outside yellow box, as we mentioned, is the actual cutoff line. It's officially referred to as the live area, and represents the outside bounds as to what will actually show up in the render. If it's in the live area, you'll have it in your picture. The light blue rectangle is called the Action Safe. This box will tell you when you're getting close to the edge, meaning that whatever in that area is right on the border of getting cut out of your rendered picture. By the way, Action Safe is set to be 10% smaller than the live area. If you want to make sure that a particular object doesn't kiss or butt up against the actual edge of the rendered image, keep it out of the Action Safe zone. And finally, the inside orange rectangle. This is referred to as the Title Safe area, and it's typically used as a way of keeping your text from bumping up against the sides of your rendered image. Title Safe is set to be 20% smaller than the live area. And by the way, you can change both the size of the Action Safe and Title Safe ranges within the Safe Frame settings we were in a little earlier. Now, here's why the Safe Frame is so important. Let's go ahead and turn it off using the shortcut Shift-F. Let's say that we have a job that specifically requests that the text in the scene sit directly at the absolute bottom of the image. Without having Safe Frame turned on, that's going to be a little bit tough to guarantee. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Let's move the 3ds Max text to what looks like the actual bottom of the shot. Once in place, why don't we also change the color of that text real quick so we can better see it up against the navy blue frame. Let's open up the material editor, typing M, then simply changing the blue diffuse color to bright green. Once we've done that, we can go ahead and close all open boxes. Okay, let's again render. Well, there's your result. Neither you or your client is going to be happy. Your customer doesn't get what they asked for, and you got to go back now and render all over again. That's why you have the Safe Frame setting, to ensure that what we see is what we're going to get. Let's close the render, activate Safe Frame, then move our text as needed. This time, seeing the safe zones, we can confidently move our text to where it needs to be. Now, once you've got it in position, go ahead and render again. Why don't we also change the size of our title safe area just so you can see how to do that. We'll close the render, then head back to the upper left-hand corner of our viewport into our configuration settings. Halfway down in the dialog, we'll change the title safe percentage to 35. Once we've done that, we can click OK in the bottom right corner. Take a look at the way the small orange square, the title safe area, has now been reduced in size. So there you go with using Max's Safe Frame. Now, anytime you render, you ought to consider the benefit of turning that valuable option on. A few moments in activating might end up saving you a ton of time come rendering things out.